Good afternoon and welcome to the 9th edition of Upon Further Review for this season. I am Butler Eagle sports editor Derek Pida, flanked on my right by Butler Eagle sports editor John Henrietto, and on my left by staff writer Mike Kilroy. We are, as always, brought to you by our sponsors, and we would like to pay tribute to them at the start here. That's Troy Allen Chevrolet Buick GMC, Conlon Tarker, Butler Health System, and Penn United Technologies. And before we get into the meat of the show, John,
yes,
Mike has a special announcement to make to our viewers.
Well, I can't wait to hear it.
My wife Dawn and I are adopting a little girl. She's coming tomorrow. We had 2 weeks to prepare, so while most fathers get 8-7 months to prepare, I got 14 days. So
good luck.
Yeah, good luck. That's right. I'm going to need it, but yeah, we're pretty excited. So I may or may not be at the shows on Mondays, depending on how things go. But I'm going to try to make it. So
I don't
this
know.
might be my last one for the season.
I
But
don't
I'm gonna
know
try to make 'em.
if John and I can handle the immense responsibilities that come with putting this show together, since we do all the work.
I might.
It's gonna be
who knows?
difficult.
I
It's gonna
might
be
bring her
difficult,
with me.
but-
Maybe she'll be the fourth panelist.
Well, she can pick games better than Scoop. I'll tell you that.
She might be able to pick better than us. That's for sure.
Of course, we offer our congratulations, Mike, to
Thank you. Yeah,
to you and Don.
It's been a long.
We wish you well.
It's been a long journey. We tried to have a biological child, didn't work out. We've been trying to adopt for 3 years now, and it finally happened 2 weeks ago. We got the call, and it's still surreal, but I'm sure it'll get real tomorrow.
It's
when
going to
she
get
comes.
real.
It's gonna get real fast.
And you call it a long journey. Your long journey is probably just starting tomorrow. So
Yeah.
it's going to get
Yeah, the
started.
long journey to this point.
Yeah.
It's going to be another long journey
Right.
after this, but it's going to be a good one. And it's one that I've been looking forward to for a long time. So
Absolutely.
I'm speechless. And thank you guys for everything you've done and kind of accommodating me here. Even though
problem.
football season, I know it's going to be hard. I'm going to be in and out for a few weeks, so I appreciate it.
Many happy days and years.
Yeah,
ahead.
we certainly wish you our best, and we wish
Absolutely.
every team in our coverage area our best, but last week, for most of them, it didn't work.
Those wishes didn't work out too well, did they? Those wishes didn't work out too well.
Man, I'm looking at last
Yeah, we
week's
had a rough week.
scores. I mean, you got Freeport basically getting knocked out of the playoffs.
They were knocked out of the playoffs. Yeah.
Knoch needs immense help to get in.
Yep.
Seneca Valley, I thought they were on track after that win against Hempfield a couple weeks ago. They go down to a one-win Woodland Hills team, and they lose to the Wolverines. John, a lot of disappointment in last week's results. What caught your eye last week?
Well, I'll tell you what. We always ask that during this segment every week. What game or two surprised you the most from last week? It's almost this week. Which game or two didn't surprise us? I mean, I guess you figure Central Catholic would have their way against Butler, and they did. Nobody thought, at least we didn't think, Newcastle would blow out Knoch the way they did. And of course, Matt Goodland going down with an elbow injury in the first half didn't help Knox cause any. But then how about Mars losing to Fox Chapel? That thing surprised all of us. Freeport losing a throw to Burrow in overtime. I mean, you go on down the list. Carson City, though they lost, they gave Ridgeway quite a fight, and I'm still impressed with Carson City's team. They're 5-3. They could easily be 7-1. They lost a couple of home heartbreakers there to Ridgeway as well as to Brookville, but I still like their team a lot. And one thing that didn't surprise me is Union AC Valley's dominance over Cameron County.
Back on the bandwagon.
But before my part of the segment's done, I have to kudos to Summit Academy. Not only posting their first one in 2 years, but getting a shutout victory as well.
Have they ever had a shutout?
They may not have ever had a shutout.
We're going to have to dig into our records for that. I don't believe they've ever had a shutout.
I'd be willing to say that they have not had a shutout.
Yeah,
I'm willing to say that.
I don't remember. I don't recall another goose egg by them.
No.
Before.
I
It
mean,
might have happened.
Even their playoff season from a couple of years ago, I don't think
They've had some good teams, playoff teams,
Yeah.
but I don't think they ever had a shutout. So kudos to them. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Mike, what say you about week 7?
Well, obviously the obvious ones that John touched on. There's a lot of surprises. Knoch. It's how gut wrenching is that? Last few years they started slow, finished fast. You figure this year they start fast. You figure, wow, they're really going to be setting themselves up because they always get better as the season's going on. Now that basically the script just got reversed. Now those struggles that happened to them early in the season are happening to them now for whatever reason. I don't know if they've had some injuries. I know they've had some key guys go down. Johnston was one guy that I think no one really realized just how important he was.
Well, we heard him
that
on
team.
both sides of the ball.
Yeah, when he went down, it seems like that's when things started to derail for them. So they still have a shot, but I guess it's
slim.
It's a slim shot. I would like to see them get in, but it doesn't look like they are, and that's kind of heart wrenching because this was a really good team. Mars losing to Fox Chapel was a stunning outcome. I was at that Ridgeway-Carson City game. Carson City really acquitted themselves quite well in that game. Ridgeway's coach was even gushing about Carson City after the game, saying how prepared they were, what a great team they were, and how dangerous they're going to be. I believe those two teams are going to end up going pretty far in the district playoffs.
Could meet again at some point.
They could meet again. Yeah, I would not be surprised if they met again. So those are the games that. So and Woodland Hills beat Seneca Valley.
And how about
7 was shocking.
Oh, yeah. And how about Mars throwing for more yards than they ran for?
Yeah,
I never thought I would see that. I never thought I'd see that.
It's almost like it was an alternate universe last Friday where everything you thought was going to happen didn't, and everything you thought no way would happen did.
Mm-hmm.
You think that at this point in the season we would be able to teams would be able to be pegged a little bit easier, but this is
Not
all
this
over
year.
the map. This is all over the map.
It's crazy. There's no rhyme or reason. We should just quit now. Get up and leave. You know, the thing about the Mars game is, I know that you guys mentioned how their offense was kind of topsy-turvy with them passing for more yards than they rushed for. That was a surprise. But if you'd have told me before the game that Mars was going to score 28 points, I still would have picked them to win.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, their defense, I mean, that they gave up 30 points to Fox Chapel. That was surprising. And
well, the Foxes, threw all over them. They just passed the ball everywhere against.
And of course, Freeport last year, 3 straight losses to open the season. They found a way to regroup, win the rest of their section games, and get in this year.
Yep.
They were on the road to doing that. It looked like they may do that, but they got beaten overtime last week by Burrell. So a good Freeport team. Garrett Schaffhauser, they got a couple games left to finish out the regular season, but they will not be in the playoffs.
This we can count on Union AC Valley.
Yes.
Yes, we
Count
can.
on them.
Yes, or Cameron County, whichever way you want to look at it. But
I think Union AC Valley.
okay, yeah, they're the local team, so we'll count on them. We got 2 topics of discussion this week, and guys, I think we did this with running backs a few weeks ago. I want to get your opinion on the quarterbacks. We've all covered standout quarterback performances. Some of those have come this year, but Mike, you've been at this business a long time. But we're going to focus strictly on your time here at the Butler Eagle. Who would be the most prolific quarterback you remember covering?
It would have to be John O'Powell from Slippery Rock. He could do everything. He's still the only quarterback that we've had to ever win the scoring trophy. He could run, he could throw, and his leadership skills were incredible, especially as he got on in his career. He and the coach at the time, Clyde Connie, he was basically, John was an extension of Coach Connie. Mm-hmm. They were so much on the same page, and that's why that offense worked so well. I know Clyde has said in the past that John was one of his favorite players to coach, and he knew he would move on to be a coach, and he is a coach.
Down in Virginia.
It was so much fun watching John O'Powell play. As soon as I read this topic, I knew exactly that's who I was going to talk about. I've covered many great quarterbacks, but to me, he had a mix of running, throwing, and the intangibles that you need in a high school quarterback that I haven't seen a lot of high school quarterbacks have.
And I know Coach Connie and John O'Powell have actually remained close.
Yes.
Long after high school. He graduated 10 years ago. So those two have maintained a close relationship. John, what quarterback sticks out for you?
Well, I go all the way back to just like Mike. My answer's it came to me right away too. I go all the way back to the Troy Nunes days at Butler High School. Troy Nunes was a senior my first year here at Butler in '97, and I still haven't seen a high school quarterback as talented as he is. Again, much like Mike said, Troy Nunes didn't run the ball like John O'Powell did, but his scrambling ability, the way he could extend plays. I mean, this kid was not afraid to run around 25 yards behind the line of scrimmage and then run forward and hit somebody in stride while running forward, which is so hard to do. Went on, of course, to an outstanding career at Syracuse University. Played in some bowl games for them.
He was a pit killer.
Triple overtime.
Sure was a pit killer. No?
He was a pit killer.
Then he went on to become somewhat of a sports agent and representing some pro athletes. So. And of course, was an outstanding basketball player on some of Butler's great basketball teams under George Abraham in the late '90s. So Troy Nunes is my choice. But again, I'll tell you what, Butler also had a quarterback. I'm having some kind of brain cramp or something. I can't think of this kid's first name. Monteleone, who played at Butler. What was it? Nick Monteleone. You got it. Nick Monteleone. Running and throwing. He almost ran and threw for 1,000 in the same area, which in big school is unheard of, and he almost did that. I got to throw him out there. And a current guy. You got to look at Zach Rotho as a current guy. I mean, to me, he's right up there with some of the best quarterbacks to come through this area.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay.
I keep doing that.
You guys got a quarterback in mind the minute you read the topic there, and so did I when I thought about it. C.J. Brown down at Seneca.
There you go. Yeah.
I once covered a game. It was in 2008, his senior year. He played down in Baldwin, and he accounted for 5 touchdowns in the first half, 3 passing, 2 rushing. The shame of C.J. Brown's career, he had a great individual career. His junior year, they made the playoffs, but they lost a first-round game to Bethel Park. In his senior year, he put up monster stats. He could run, he could pass. They started the season really good, really well. Out of conference games, they got in conference, and they just fell apart as a team. They couldn't win. I remember they lost a game down at Shaler where Shaler recovered 3 straight onside kicks, and they ended up winning that game. I think they closed the season with a win over Butler. That was their only conference win. So it was a shame to see that kind of talent end his career without even getting into the playoffs during his senior year. But C.J. Brown, great, and he went on to a pretty prolific career at University of Maryland.
Yes, he did.
And from what I heard, I have not been able to confirm this, but I hear he's actually doing work with University of Maryland's radio network for football. He's calling the games down there. So good luck, C.J. That's what I originally wanted to do. I wanted to call games. But I was told I have a face for radio, so
you don't have a face for upon further review.
No, I've been told that.
Unfortunately, I don't have that.
Topic number 2, we got Knoch, and we've talked about them. They're actually done with conference play. They still have a shot at the playoffs, but they need immense help. But I want you guys to put yourselves in the shoes of a coach whose team is already qualified for the playoffs. Would you rather have your last 2 games of the regular season be non-conference games, or have the pressure of those conference contests, which obviously involves seeding too for the upcoming district playoffs? John, which one would you rather have there? Would you rather non-conference or conference games the last 2 weeks?
Well, to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, I'll take Knoch's schedule this year 1,000 times out of 1,000 years if I clinch the playoff spot by now. Unfortunately, Knoch hasn't done that. But if they had, and then to have 2 non-section games, obviously you're going to try to win them because it would have affected playoff seeding. You know, how you do in those last couple of games. Right. But if you got, say, a kid banged up or a kid. The kid hurting here, hurting there, and you want to spell him a little bit in a non-league game that's not going to affect your playoff status. To me, it's ideal. I mean, so to answer your question, I would definitely prefer have my league schedule done, have my playoff spot secured, and then I can do what I want with those last 2 games.
John's right. This is a no-brainer because you don't have a brain to answer it that way. Man. You have to go in.
Just because you're going to be a father, I have to come with this kind of mouth.
It's a no-brainer. You have no brain. You have to go in with an edge. I mean, 2 weeks without having really to play a game that means anything for the playoffs.
No, wait. Hold on. The game still means something. Like
not for the playoffs.
Sure it does.
The playoffs.
For playoff seeding, it does. For playoff seeding, it does. I mean, I'm not saying you're not going to try to. I never said you're not going to try to win the games, but I'm saying, it does give a coach an option. I mean, like you got somebody banged up. I mean, but yeah. I'm not saying you're going to sit the kid for 2 weeks. But you're going to spell them here and there. You're not going to grind them in a must-win situation.
No, I want my kids playing high-pressure games going into the playoffs, so they're used to that kind of atmosphere. So they hit the ground running, they get into the playoffs, and they have that atmosphere. They have that feeling that every play counts. I don't want them playing like that, then taking a 2-week break basically without that kind of pressure, and then trying to turn it on again. I don't think high school kids can do that. I don't think they can just turn it on again. You look at NFL teams can't do that when they clinch everything up and they just kind of fool around for 2 games and go to the playoffs. A lot of times they're rusty and it almost costs them. Sometimes it does cost them. I want my team to be feeling like every game counts. Every game's a playoffs going into the playoffs. Look at the history of the teams that have done well. They've all kind of been backed in the corner and gone on runs, like Seneca Valley last year. You think Seneca Valley goes on a run like that if they didn't have that edge going into the playoffs? I don't think so.
Okay.
Tell us how you really feel.
Respectfully disagree. Actually, since you disrespected me, I disrespectfully disagree with you.
Disrespectfully disagree with you.
I gotta keep you. It's a good thing I'm here to keep you guys.
With all due disrespect, you're wrong.
I have to side with the new daddy here. I'm actually going to go with the conference games.
In your face.
Obviously, I will say this: if you got kids hurt, especially star players, skilled players,
I can't see that part.
Big linemen, it gives them a chance to heal up. But if a guy's healthy, and I don't want him having, let's say, our running back, and he's used to getting 25 carries a game, and over the course of 2 non-conference games and the regular season, he's getting the ball 5 or 6 times a game. Then all of a sudden, the playoffs start, and if that ball's rolling, I want to keep it rolling. If guys are hurt, you keep them out. If guys are hurt, you keep them out no matter what kind of game it is.
Well, let me ask you a question, though. You're talking about having a playoff spot sewn up with 2 weeks left? I mean, either way? Is that what you're talking about?
So, obviously, you're a good team.
Sure. Then if you have a playoff spot sewn up with 2 weeks left, then what difference does it make whether you're playing league games or non-league games? You already have a playoff spot sewn up.
No, hold on a second.
So what difference does it make?
Hold on a second. If you're
playing for seeding either way. I mean, in either situation, you're playing for seeding.
I do think it's debatable, at least in the Whitbill. Maybe not other districts. I think it's debatable in the Whitbill how much non-conference games mean. I mean, if you got a team that's undefeated through 10 games entering the postseason, and you got another team that just went through their section crushing everybody, and they lose their last regular season game of the year, I don't know if that's going to...
Believe me, I guarantee you that when it comes to seeding these playoff teams, overall record plays a factor. I'll guarantee that. I mean, I'm not saying it plays the determining factor.
I think they look at your conference record more than they look at your... And I would hope, at least, that they would have a little bit of logic when they seeded. When they saw that Team X was 8-0 or 7-0, undefeated in their section, had everything wrapped up, then the last 2 section games, last 2 games were non-conference, and they didn't play anybody that they wouldn't take that, wouldn't punish them.
I mean, I've seen Whitfield playoff seedings in past years where totally disrespect a particular section champion because the district board is not convinced that was a very good section. Well, and they don't seed them high, even though they won their league.
Here's another point: if you're good enough to have everything wrapped up, before you have these 2 non-conference games, then you're probably a good team anyway. So it doesn't even matter what your seed is. You're gonna have to play these teams anyway. So play them, beat them, move on. And you want it if you want to go into that on a roll, not with 2 weeks off.
So what we're basically saying here is Derek's subject matter here is meaningless.
This whole topic was meaningless.
I'm not doing another show the rest of the fall. I'm not doing it. But
I will John by himself.
I will say this though: you talk about non-conference games. Remember last year, John? You'll remember this.
Yes.
West Allegheny was set to play North Allegheny. Both coaches were going to. They were both willing to have a running clock to start the game. Not because it was going to be a blowout on either side, because they were both afraid to get kids hurt. I mean, with the Whitbill, the game was not played that way. They played it with a regular clock.
Right.
But if that game would have started with a running clock, is the Whitbill going to look at the outcome of that game and either improve a team seeding or detract from a team seeding? And when it was basically a mercy clock to start the game.
Total clown situation. If 2 teams agree, well, we're going to start with a running clock to start, why are you playing a game for? Well, I'm not saying why are you even bothering to go and play against that?
I do agree with that. Just say we're not playing. Let's take the bye week.
That or play your backups.
Yeah.
That or play your backups.
Or turn into a.
I'm serious. I'm serious. Why would you bother to even play if they're going to take that approach of going in? I don't get it.
John, you're starting to sound like Stephen A. Smith. We got to go to Mike over here first.
I don't make his money, so I don't know.
Our first over-under for the week is we're actually going to get both over-unders this week deal with a specific game this week. We're talking about first Seneca Valley hosting Pine Richland. The Rams are averaging just over 40 points a game.
Yep.
Really good offense. pass heavy. They've only rushed for about 600 yards all year, but they can really pass the ball. And, of course, Seneca Valley's defense has been up and down all year. They're coming off a bad performance at a one-win Woodland Hills team, gave up 36 points. The over-under for this one is the amount of points scored by the Rams this week against Seneca Valley, Mike, 35.5.
I have to go over based on what I've seen recently from Seneca. But Seneca's been kind of Jekyll and Hyde, too. One week they're down, next week they play up. I'm still going to go over, not by a whole lot. Maybe when I make my predictions later, it'd be like 38 or so for Pine Richland. But I just can't, in good faith, pick Seneca Valley to hold that Rams offense in check this week after what happened last week against Woodland Hills.
Pine Richland has a seasoned quarterback, John. It's kind of weird to say because he's not even spent 2 seasons as a starter, but last year, Cole Spencer, and as a sophomore last year, he helped them win a Whitfield championship. But he's seasoned. He's putting up great numbers this year. 35.5 over/under on Pine Richland's.
I'm going over also, but my over is more of a tribute to the Pine Richland offense than a knock on the Seneca Valley defense. This offense for Pine Richland can do whatever they want. I mean, they can run the football with the Luke Meckler. Teams try to gear up the box to stop Meckler, so Pine Richland takes what they give them. They'll do the short passing game, the short outs, they'll do the crossing patterns. Spencer can throw the ball deep when he wants to throw the ball deep. There's nothing that offense can't do to move the football, and I just don't see them slowing down at this point in the season. They're going into gear. I don't think it's going to be much over, but I don't think Seneca holds them below 35. I don't see it.
I'm going to be the black sheep of the trio here. I'm going to go under. I know Pine Richland's offense is really good, and they're better than Mount Lebanon, and they are better than Central Catholic. Mm-hmm. Seneca Valley's defense did play really well against Central Catholic, lost that game in the last 30 seconds, and they held Mount Lebanon, which has a good offense. They're not Pine Richland, but they have a really good offense, and they held them to 36 yards in the first half before falling apart in the second half and losing the game. I do think Butchley and his staff get these kids up to play a really good offense in Pine Richland. I think they keep them below 35. I'll reserve my pick for later.
Right.
But I do think they score, the Rams do, less than 35 points in this game.
Being up to stop them is one thing. Being able to stop them is another thing. I think they'll definitely be up to stop them, but I don't know if they'll be able to. That's all.
Point taken. Next topic. Undefeated.
Disrespectfully disagree.
Disrespectfully disagree.
We got undefeated Oil City visiting Slippery Rock Friday. Now, if you look at Slippery Rock's schedule, they actually have a 10th game scheduled against Sharpsville 2 Fridays from now, but that game has been scrapped because Slippery Rock's going to be in the playoffs. Right. So this is their last regular season game. They're hosting Oil City, and the Oilers are led by senior running back Noah Petro, 1,354 yards, 8.2 yard average, 19 touchdowns. Over/under on Slippery Rock holding this kid to 125.5 yards, John.
Well, obviously, I haven't seen Noah Petro play, but I'm very impressed by his numbers, especially by his average yards per carry. That's off the charts. I'm going to go in a high school game with a stand-up back, 125 yards isn't all that much on a given Friday. I'm going to say over. I'm going to say Slippery Rock does not hold him below 125.
Mike.
Yeah, he's going to get his yards, but that doesn't mean Slippery Rock's going to lose. I think Slippery Rock knows that he's going to get his yards. They're going to try to limit the pieces around him, and they're going to try to do what they do best on offense and put some points on the board. So I think he gets over that. He goes over, but I think Slippery Rock wins the game. We'll get to that later.
Okay. I'm actually going to go under here. I'm the doofus this week, apparently. I don't know.
Well, no, you're positive.
We're supporting our local team.
I'm banking on in his
we might be the doofus.
Yeah, maybe we are.
We'll see. In his 4 years at Slippery Rock, Larry Wonderhughes has he's come up with some really good defensive performances. Now, some of those have come in a playoff game where they've upset playoff opponents. Mm-hmm. This is not a playoff game, but their stats, their Oil City has passed for literally about 450 yards all season. So they are a run-heavy team, and the second kid behind Petro has like 600 yards this year. That's a good total.
Yeah.
But obviously this team's bread and butter is the Petro kid, and I think if Slippery Rock keys on him, maybe it opens things up for the other backs if they do some fakes with Petro, but I don't think he gets to 125. He's still probably going to have a decent game, but I don't see him getting to 125, so I'm going under. I believe in your defense, Larry.
The other tricky thing here is Oral City is undefeated, but we don't really know the caliber of their schedule either. We don't really know how good the teams are that they play. So. That could be a factor too.
Moving on to this
Turn in the bait.
this week. Oh, first of all, I got to run down last week's results. I know
Unfortunately, yes, you did.
It's tough. Scoop and I went 6-5, which is horrible.
Yeah.
It's bad. You guys went 5-6.
Not as bad as us.
Worse.
So
I don't remember the last week I had a losing record.
I can't.
I know.
Except for there's playoff weeks where there might be 2 games.
Yeah,
But
especially-
full set of
Yeah.
games have a
I don't-
losing record.
yeah,
That's
Especially this late in the
The
season
season.
when we pretty much have a
yeah.
game
Usually by
what's going
now
on.
we're 8-3,
Yeah.
9-2. 8-3 is bad usually at this time.
Last week was a stunning week. There's no question.
So all 3 of us, the 3 Stooges, are 62.
We're all clowns.
62 and 21, and Scoop is 1 game behind us at 61 and 22. I shouldn't have said 3 Stooges. We're going to start off with Butler's home game against Hempfield. John, how do you take this game?
Well, Hempfield's only 2-6, and they're 1-6 in league play, but their record's a little bit misleading because they've been competitive against some of the heavy hitters. They only lost Mount Lebanon 31-17. They scored 35 on NA last week, which was pretty impressive. They handled Norwin for their 1 section wins. Central Catholic, they were in the game for a while before losing 31-14. Butler's season is what it is. They just don't have the numbers to compete right now, and I think they'll score a couple on Hempfield, but I see Hempfield winning this game 35-14.
Mike.
Yeah, I believe. Then we discussed the clock's might be running or something for this game.
Yeah, possible. They may only play 10-minute quarters.
So I think that's going to keep the score down. Butler is good
In spurts. Yep.
You mentioned the one drive that they had against Central, where they went right down the field against Central, against their first team, with their first team. So Butler has potential to do that, but they don't have the depth right now or the ability to sustain that throughout a whole game. So that's why I'm going to pick Hempfield 38-6.
Okay. I actually see, like Mike mentioned, if this game starts like this past Saturday's game started with a running clock against Central Catholic, that's going to keep the score down. I actually like Butler to keep this game close. I think Cooper Baxter, obviously a lot of ability. He can throw, he can run. I think they keep it close. I have Hempfield winning 28-14.
Well, I'll say one thing in Butler's favor in this game is Hempfield's quarterback, Blake Remley, he's thrown for a lot of yards. He's only thrown 3 picks the entire season. But he is a straight drop-back guy. I mean, he is not a running, scrambling type of quarterback. And Butler can bring the heat a little bit with their pass rush, so that could help them actually.
A great passing threat like Kent Graham. Yeah. This guy, he can't move, though.
Right, exactly.
Pine Richland at Seneca Valley. We're going to go to Mike first on this one.
Yeah, we talked about the over-under. I said Pine Richland's going to go a little bit over that 35.5. I'm going to say 38-14. Pine Richland beats Seneca.
Sean.
I'm picking Pine Richland also. I just think they're hitting their stride. They're tuning up for the playoffs, and they still believe they can finish. And probably will finish very high in the Quad County Conference. I'm picking Pine Richland 42-14.
Okay, Pine Richland a few weeks ago lost, and they lost pretty big. They lost by 22 points to Central Catholic, but
That was a stunner, actually.
they still do have a shot to get at least a share
Yep.
of the conference title.
Yep.
And I think Seneca Valley is going to be game. I think this game is going to be closer than a lot of people think, but I think Pine Richland scores enough, 31-19 over the Raiders at Next Tier Stadium, where I will be partaking, as always, in the halftime wings and pizza.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
That's right. We have
Although sandwich ring at Butler 2 weeks ago. I'm going to say that. Sandwich ring?
Pizza at Slippery Rock.
First time ever.
I'll be
First
at Slippery
time.
Rock. They have pizza at halftime.
Okay.
So I'll be getting my 2 slices.
Guess I'm losing weight for a reason here. Huh?
no, we got. we're going to talk about Mars. Can they bounce back after that disappointing loss to Fox
They
Chapel?
can, but will they?
Well, John,
Use the Derek Pida comment.
will Mars bounce back from the loss against Fox Chapel? They're hosting the Kiski area this week.
They will definitely bounce back. As I've said many times on this show and otherwise, you do not go against the Scott Heinrich coach team the week after they lose a game. They just respond with a big effort. Now Kiski's not bad. They're going to give Mars a fight here, but I see the Planets winning 28-20.
28-20 Mars.
Yep.
Mike.
They are going to take their little Teddy Duffner doll. They're going to wind it up, and they're going to let it run for 300 yards.
Yeah, they
That's
have
what
to
Mars
fix
is
it a
gonna
little
do.
bit. They have to fix that
Oh,
doll.
he's fine. He's fine.
Okay.
He's gonna have another big game for them. I say he runs for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Mars is gonna roll 42-7.
Wow.
Kiski, yeah.
I think
No respect for the Cavaliers there.
No, Mars is gonna fix what ailed them, what's been ailing them, and they're gonna show it off this week against
Okay.
Kiski. I have every faith in Scott Heinauer and Teddy Ruffner in that offense. I think they're going to throw for a little bit too. I think they found some passing game, which is going to help them.
I don't have any doubt that Ruffner's going to get his yards. The thing I look for a big improvement over last week in Mars' defense. I think they're going to go out and have a big game. I like Mars to win this game 28-10. Short game. I think they're going to focus on. They got the passing game going last week. I think Ruffner has a big game this one, and the Planets win 28-10. All right, we talked about the Knoch Knights earlier. They finished their season again with 2 non-conference games, and the first one is this week at Trinity. Mike, do the Knights get a win?
Well, do we know the status of Matt Goodwin?
We do not yet. We do not know the status of that.
I don't know if that's even going to matter, though, because I think Knoch's going to win this game fairly handily over Trinity with or without Matt Goodwin. I will drop. Can I make 2 predictions? Can I make 2 scores?
Sure. I'll listen to the first one. That's it.
With Matt Goodwin, they win 35-14. Without Matt Goodwin, they win 28-14. I'll just do that. So pick whatever one you want. I think he's good for 7 points.
Okay.
7-point difference.
Thing is, I think Dave will miss Matt Goodwin if he doesn't play. Not only his offensive productivity speaks for itself, but he's also the leading tackle on defense at linebacker. And his absence in the Newcastle game last week, which I covered, was very noticeable, probably even more so on defense than on offense. Keith Washington filled in for him on offense, ended up running for over 100 yards. So I think they'll miss him on defense a little bit, and I'm going to assume that if Goodwin does play, he's not going to be 100%, but I still see Knoch winning, but I'm going to say a closer game, 21-13.
All right, I like Knoch in this game. Regardless of if Goodwin plays or not, Trinity's not good. Knoch's playoff fate is now in the hands of other teams, but either way, they want to close the regular season on a good note in the last 2 games. So I got the Knights winning 37-12. All right, in a barn burner.
Okay.
Carson City.
A slobber knocker.
Carson City going up to Bradford to face the
That's not a slobber knocker.
1-win Owls. Mike, how does this one turn
That's
out?
not a slobber knocker. It's a long trip for Carson City. The last time they made a long trip, they sputtered a little bit early. They might do that a little bit this week, but they'll get it going. They'll eventually put up 40 points on them. I say they win 40-12 over Bradford, overmatched Bradford.
John, how many points are you taking the Owls by here?
I'm not taking the Owls. In fact, here's an incredible stat on Bradford. It is incredible.
Okay.
They scored 59 points against Punxsutawney in a 59-34 win 2 weeks ago. They have scored 26 total points the rest of the season.
Yeah.
That's just
Tells you how
bizarre
bad
to me.
Punxsutawney is.
Yeah, that's just bizarre to me. And Punxsutawney will come up later in one of these picks here, but
Very next pick.
yeah, but I'm picking
Carson
Carson City's going to roll. I mean, Bradford can't stay with them. Carson City 42-7.
A lot of coaches don't like to focus on moral victories, but maybe I did not talk to Coach Sherman like you covered the game last week, but I really think you can take a lot of positives out of that Carson City
Definitely.
He was
game.
upbeat. He was upbeat after the game. They knew they had their chances. He was disappointed in that, but I think overall he was pretty happy with how they played.
They're playing really good football right now. They beat Kane 2 weeks ago. They hung right in there with a very strong Ridgeway team last week. I think Carson City boots the Owls out of the barn this week.
Wow.
44-16, and those 16 points for Bradford come late.
A little bird abuse there.
Yeah. You mentioned Punxsutawney. Here we go. Punxsutawney at Monessen. Bradford has one win this year. They scored
56 points on
59 points against Punxsutawney.
Yep.
Punxsutawney's defense, I fortunately have not seen them this year, but they must be not good. Not good.
That's a polite way of putting it.
Politically correct.
Mike, do the Warriors get a win at home this week?
Yeah. And they're going to get a convincing win because of everything we just said about Bradford. Giving up 59 or scoring 59 points against Punxsutawney, Bradford did. Punxsutawney's defense is obviously pretty leaky, and Montauk's offense has kind of spinning his tires a little bit. They did find a bell cow running back in JD DeCicino, who last week ran for a good amount of yards. He also was involved in the passing game. I think this week Montauk throws it a little bit, runs it a little bit. They're gonna find a lot of offensive consistency this week, and I think they win handily. I'm going to say 46-15.
John, do you love the Chucks this week?
Nope.
Nope.
Chucks are going to be chucked. Actually, they're going to be chucked out of the way.
Shadow.
Yeah, Monessen, they probably took a bit of a hit last week at St. Mary's. Really bad loss for them up there last week. Punxsutawney's going to pay for that. Monesen's going to win big. I'm picking them 33-12. It might be worse than that, but that's my score.
I got a similar score, and it might be worse than this, but I'm picking Monessen 36-6. Maybe next year, Chucks.
Yeah.
Another game that I don't see being close. North Catholic at Yock. North Catholic has 2 games remaining in their conference schedule, and right now they're undefeated, so they could end the season as undefeated conference champions. John, do you see the Cougars slowing down North Catholic at all this week? Down at Cougar Mountain.
Well, as Mike's pointed out many times,
who knows?
Unpredictable Trojans. You don't know whether they're going to play a big defensive game, whether they're going to have a huge offensive game. I'm kind of going somewhere in the middle of this week. North Catholic's not only playing to win their section, they're playing for that playoff seeding we talked about earlier. I'm picking North Catholic 27-7.
Yeah, North Catholic, you just never know. On paper, it looks like they're going to pile up the points, but they go from 12 points one week to 56 the next week. They go from like 20 to 50 from week to week. But I think this is a week where they put back-to-back big points on the board. I say they win 56-7.
All right, I got to lean more toward Mike's score here. I think they do have a big game. You look at Yock, their one win this year is over Uniontown, and I say they only scored 25 points in that game against Uniontown. We could probably go out and score 20 points.
Uniontown was up on North Catholic last week.
They were. They had
up on Freeport. If Uniontown does one thing good, it's getting up 7-0.
And they fall behind pretty good too.
Yeah, they do. They do that.
I'm taking North Catholic. I rarely pick a shutout. I'm picking them 49-0 this week.
Wow.
Freeport out of the playoffs. Yep. Conference game at Mount Pleasant, who I believe is also out of the playoffs. I believe.
Yeah, they're 2-4 in the league place.
So to me, this game comes down to both teams had playoff hopes entering last week. Now all of a sudden the playoffs are gone. Which team is more motivated? John, Freeport or Mount Pleasant?
This is a pride game. That's all it is. These are 2 teams that entered the season hoping to grab a playoff spot. It's not going to happen for either one, as we mentioned. But I'm picking Freeport to really come up with a big effort on the road. On paper, this game looks even, but I think Freeport's going to pull away late, 34-14.
Mike?
Yeah, this is basically disappointment bowl. Both teams are disappointed. Both teams are kind of shell-shocked that they're not in the playoff mix right now. So, what it's going to do, it's going to make a great game because of the pride factor. Because both teams are going to want to finish on a strong note. These last 2 games that they have, but I think Freeport is going to find a little bit more, dig a little bit deeper, find a little bit more, and I think they're going to win 23-9.
Okay, I do know that Mount Pleasant, They're not a very strong team. They do have a pretty good running game, and I think that running game keeps things close. But I like Garrett Schaffhauser and Brody Woods and that group to.
Ricky Hunter, is that
Ricky Hunter, huge game last week in defeat. Huge game for him.
I like those guys to find a way to pull a win out on the road down at Mount Pleasant, 23-16 in a close game. We talked about this game earlier, Mike. We're going to go to you first on this one. Oil City playing at Slippery Rock. Oil City trying to finish the regular season undefeated. Will they?
No, Slippery Rock will beat them. We mentioned earlier, I think the running back's going to get his yards. You can't stop a guy like that. You can maybe contain him. You can maybe limit the damage that happens around him. I think Slippery Rock's going to do that. Slippery Rock's been another kind of helter-skelter, topsy-turvy team this year. It seems like when they have a game like they had against Hickory, where it was very disappointing, they always seem to come back strong. I think they're going to do that again. They're going to win a close game. I see it 31-28, Slippery Rock.
Slobberknocker?
Slobberknocker, yeah.
John, you love the Oilers this week?
Slobberknocker-esque.
Well, again, this time I'll respectfully disagree with Mr. Kilroy rather than disrespectfully. I think Oil City does stay undefeated. I think they have a lot of weapons in their running game. I do see a high-scoring game here. See Oil City getting the clinching touchdown late for a 35-21 win.
35-21?
Yeah.
All right. I like
no-brainer over here.
I like Slippery Rock this one. Larry Wonder has found a way to surprise me the last few years with some upsets. I think he gets another one this week. I'm picking Slippery Rock 24-17, and which would mean they enter the playoffs with a win, which is important. You want that momentum going into the playoffs,
especially a win against a
really good team. Yeah, absolutely. Here's a game that I kind of had circled a few weeks ago because I was not planning on Union AC Valley losing the Keystone.
Right.
They did, but they got the ship righted last week with a 52-0 squeaker over Cameron County. Now they're playing Red Bank Valley, who's coming off their first loss of the season. Caldersport crushed Red Bank Valley last week. So you got Union AC traveling to New Bethlehem, your favorite town, John, against the Red Bank Valley
I'm not
Bulldogs.
sure why you would say that, but I'll buy that.
It's everyone's favorite.
Who do you like here,
Is
John?
there a good restaurant there or something?
Bethlehem.
There's a Burger King.
Oh, there's Burger King? Okay.
It's Bethlehem, but it's new.
My pick, I think this is a Slobberknocker game. This is my Slobberknocker pick, and I do. And again, I'm not getting off the Union AC Valley bandwagon. I think they go into Red Bank, pull out a close victory. I'm saying 20-14, Union ACB.
I'm sorry, what was your score?
20-14.
Okay.
2-0 to
I'm
14.
right there riding shotgun with you on the bend,
All right.
John. I think Union AC Valley's the real deal. They're for real. They're going to knock off Red Bank Valley. It's going to be a tight game. They're going to win 28-26.
28-26. We talked about, who was it before, Mars coming up after a loss. You don't want to pick again. This Red Bank team's very strong, and they didn't just lose last week. They got embarrassed.
They did.
They went up to Caldersport and got throttled. They're playing at home. Union AC Valley's the real deal. They're going to be in the playoffs. I just don't see them winning this game. I like Red Bank to win this game, going away 38-16.
Wow, they're diving off the bandwagon.
Wow, that's
dove off.
That's a big margin of defeat for Union AC Valley.
I'll tell you what. Here's what I like about the Falcon Knights. Other than their offense, which has really come together in recent weeks, especially the running games come together. That defense is opportunistic. I mean, their defense can score points for them, and that's going to help them.
Yeah, Tanner Merwin has a number of interceptions.
Yeah,
they've had a number of defensive touchdowns this year. So, yeah, they're very ball hockey, and they're very good on that side, forcing turnovers and turning them into points or opportunities for offense to score.
Is ball hockey a word?
It's now.
Ball hockey is a word.
Okay. I think so.
I've used it before.
Okay.
Maybe we can get our loyal viewers to tell us if ball hockey is a word, like they did with Slobberknocker.
And while they're busy doing that, we're going to move on to our last game of the week. Saturday afternoon special, Still Valley playing at Summit.
Summit's winless no more. Winless no more.
They beat Valley last week 14-0. Do they get win number 2, John?
They do not, but no. They will play. But they will play a quality game. They'll play a good game. But I see Steel Valley winning this game 21-6.
Mike.
As much as I want to pick Summit Academy, they got that win against Valley last week, but I'm not so sure that they can beat Steel Valley. I think it's gonna be close. It's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a competitive game. They're gonna hang in there with Steel Valley, but I think Steel Valley's gonna win by a touchdown. I say 27-20.
All right, I look at Steel Valley's schedule, and they were really struggling at the start of the year. Mm-hmm. Over the last few weeks, last 3 or 4 weeks, they've really improved their play. This is a tough test for Summit. They're playing a team that's improving. Steel Valley's a lot better now than they were 6 weeks ago, and I think the Iron Men will go into Herman and knock off the Knights 27-12. Okay, that's it for the picks. We would like to invite you to look at our expanded high school football coverage in Sunday's Butler Eagle, as well as on the Butler Eagle Sports Facebook page. No problem.
Producer likes that.
No, the producer likes that.
Thumbs up for the producer.
Our last topic, we always try to go away from football for a little bit here at the end of the show. We're going to talk about soccer because the Whitfield soccer brackets come out on Wednesday. And John, I want to get your thoughts. We do a lot of things. Who do you think is going to win the district? We over-unders, whatever. I'm asking you a bit of a different question. How many teams are going to make it to the Whitfield championship game out of our Whitfield teams?
Okay, out of our Whitfield teams, I misread this, and it's my fault. You have it worded correctly. Somehow I missed the word Whitfield. I thought you meant all of our coverage area, but that's okay. Making it to I admit it. It's my mistake.
Reading comprehension.
I admit it. Hey, I'm in my 60s. Cut me a break. Playing for the district title, I'm going to go with 3. I think out of Mars and Seneca Valley, I think 3 of the 4 teams get there. I think one of them gets knocked off along the way. So I'm going to go with 3.
I think Mars girls, Seneca boys, North Catholic boys, and Freeport girls. I think we're going to get there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we have potential to have as many as.
Potentially, we have a ton. We have a ton of potential.
I think we have 6 teams that can potentially get there. I mean, legitimately have a legitimate shot, but I think 4 are going to get there.
Okay, so you say 2, 3. You say
I'm saying 3. I'm saying 3.
Okay, and you say 4, and I say 2. First, before I get to my teams, I think are going to get the Whitfield championship game. Okay. I do want to mention we got 5 Whitfield schools that have both boys and girls going. Yep. North Catholic, Seneca Valley, Mars, Butler, and Freeport.
Yep.
So. I mean, that's
a lot of teams.
That's a lot of teams, and they're good teams.
10 teams right there. Yeah.
And Seneca Valley boys and girls are both defending champions.
Mm-hmm.
Although Seneca Valley has not played well recently. I covered their game against Butler the other day. They lost. They went 1-2-1 in their last 4 section games. North Catholic, both of those teams are teams to be reckoned with. I wouldn't be surprised if they got the Whitfield championship game. But I think the 2 teams that we have, they're going to be playing for Whitfield championships in soccer are going to be both teams from Mars. That's where I'm going to draw the line.
Well, here's the thing: the Whitfield soccer playoffs, and you guys well know that we've all experienced them. I mean, they're a real grind.
It's a crap.
I mean, it's a grind. Mm-hmm. It is. A lot of one-goal games, a lot of overtime games. I mean, it is so hard to even get the Highmark Stadium. So, but I do agree with Mike. Potentially, we got a number of teams that could make it there. We do.
One bounce of the ball can.
Yeah, it's really true.
It's tough.
It's really true. Yeah.
Mike, closing thoughts on this. Take it away.
It's just amazing year after year after year how many good, excellent soccer teams we have, and not just in the Whitfield and other districts. Superior Rock in District 10, Carson City in District 9.
Yep.
Every year we seem to talk about just how deep and talented all of our soccer teams are. And how really it's not even surprising anymore if we get multiple teams to Whitfield championships, or if Carson City girls win a district title, it's almost expected.
Yep.
That just shows you and tells you the quality of soccer, the quality of the younger soccer programs, the feeder programs are to keep replenishing these high school teams with all this talent. Soccer is big in Butler County. It's been big for a while. I don't see it going anywhere.
I want to make sure I didn't intentionally snub Carson City.
No, I understand.
The Whitfield playoff brackets come out Wednesday.
Yes.
Those other districts, I think they start the following.
Yeah, they're always a week behind. But
just for fun, let me throw an add-on question to this topic to you guys. Carson City boys and girls and Sleep Rock boys and girls, those 4 teams, how many of those 4 do you guys see playing for their respective district titles?
3.
3 of the 4?
3 of the 4.
Derek, what do you think?
2.
2? Okay.
I won't say which one's not going to make it. I won't single anybody out.
I think 3 of the 4. I think 3 of the 4 also.
I say 2.
4.
I'm Derek.
Again, this is
Derek Downer.
this is making the finals. It's not.
Yeah, making the
That's
finals.
winning, making the finals.
Right. All right, so that does it for this week's show. Join us next week when Mike may or may not be here, but if he's not here, you know he's going to be having fun with that baby at home.
Absolutely.
Who knows? I might bring her in for a show. Who knows? She can make a couple picks. Tell John he's brainless. I'll be all good.
Like the father, like daughter. Hopefully not. We'll see.